Hi guys, my name is Susanna. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Today I'm gonna talk to you about a very popular situation. I think a lot of people work the job that they genuinely don't enjoy, but here is my story. I came to United States when I was 18 years old. It was 14 years ago, 2012. Crazy to think that it was that long ago, but yeah, it feels like it was yesterday. Not yesterday, maybe like 2 years ago, but it was 14 years ago. And when I was 18 years old, I pretty much was still a child, and my hopes and dreams for America was so over the top. I was coming here to study. I wanted to go to college here, etc. But I also was sure that at the same time I can pursue modeling and acting, and while I'm in school, I go to castings, eventually get hired for big projects, I'll become famous. But I didn't know the laws of America. When you're on a student visa, you cannot pursue jobs here unless you're working on campus, which I eventually did. I was like, okay, since I cannot pursue modeling and acting on a bigger scale outside the campus, then I can do acting projects with other students. So that's what I did. Different modeling and acting gigs here and there in universities. When I was about to graduate university, there was another question: how to stay in the United States. You see, when I just came to the United States at 18 years old, I was so full of hopes that my dreams are gonna come reality. When I was hitting that more adult state of mind, some of those dreams were kind of like, you were hitting realistic life view, when you understand that it's not so easy in life how you expected. And there was always other things that I had to worry when I am in the United States, in a country that is not my home country. It's already pretty overwhelming, but when you come here with certain expectations and they slowly but surely start falling apart, you face reality. It's not easy. Then another question faced me. I was trying to figure out how to stay in the United States after graduation. Of course, there are different ways to stay in the country, but I wanted to go the most honorable way. Not honorable, but what I want to say that there are people find ways to stay through marriage, whether it's real or not, through asylum, through, I don't know, it's probably like marriage, work, and asylum. Of course, I love my country. I'm not gonna go asylum. I have nothing against my country. At that time, I was not dating anyone that seriously for me to get married, so that was out of picture. And then the last option for me was to stay in the country is to work and for my company potentially sponsor my visa and hopefully green card. That was my plan. I'm gonna apply as an intern, show that I am an awesome employee, and they will sponsor my visa. Unfortunately, that was not the case. All the interviews I went to, they were not asking me questions. The first thing they would ask me if I am here on paperwork, what kind of paperwork, and if I am expecting them to sponsor my visa. If I do, they would say, unfortunately, we don't do that, but you are welcome to work here for a year on OPT program, and then you should go, basically, because when you are on a PT program, you can only work legally for 1 year. And then if your company is not sponsoring you, then you have to go back to your country. So I was losing hope, but at that time, my friend referred me to his company. It is a small, it's family-owned company. It's not that small, but at the time I thought it was like small. And they just kind of hired me on a spot. They wanted to have me as an intern and just see how I'm going to, perform. And that's how they do that. They hire you, you work there for 3 months, and then you have evaluation whether you're going to continue or you're going to just leave. I didn't have high hopes. I was like, I'm just going to work here as an intern. Meanwhile, I am applying to other jobs and just, figure out as I go. And I did not expect that, but after 3 months, they pretty much offered me to sponsor my visa. I was so surprised because other companies that I applied to, they were big companies and they were straightforward. We are not spending money on sponsorships, no. So I was very shocked and pleased and surprised at the same time. But, there were times throughout this paperwork process where I questioned if it's worth it, because job was really demanding. I was working sometimes 6 days a week, and sometimes there were no weekends. And there were times if I don't respond to a phone call on the weekend, I will get in trouble. It's not the case now, interestingly why, but yeah, when I was in the process of getting paperwork, it was intense. I freaking deserve that green card that I got eventually. And where I'm going with that, I've been postponing my dreams and my life because of the different things that I had to face throughout my life in the United States, you know, studying, not able to work, really pursuing my dreams on a bigger scale, then staying in the United States, really busting my ass to get the paperwork. And then by the time I got my paperwork, I was 28 years old. I still have the same hopes and dreams. And I have to tell you, I don't want to blame any industry or any person that I encountered on my way, because first and foremost, it's my responsibility to keep going when someone is putting me down or if I am facing rejections. But long story short, I kept pushing for that dreams until I realized that it's probably a little bit outdated now. I knew that this job I am at now, it was temporary at that time when I was thinking, okay, I'm gonna leave it once I get my paperwork. Then there was, I'm gonna leave it once I start making money out of my side hustle. Once I realized that my side hustle is shifting into something different, I was a little bit lost. Like, what do I do now? Like, I still want to pursue a creative outlet. For me, quitting this job just to go to find another job like that, a temporary job, until my side hustle kicks in, it just doesn't make sense. So I am still 8 years later at the same company. And it's funny to remember that moment where I was talking to one of my colleagues and we were talking about our mutual colleague that at that time was at the company for almost 10 years. And we were just like so mind blown. What can you do in the one company for 10 years? Like, this is just depressing. Here we go. Fast forward, now I officially in the company 8 years, and in 2028, if I stay till then, it would be 10 years I am in the company too. And it's just crazy to think that never say never. If you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. Here we go. So right now I am pursuing something else, and I'm really pushing myself this time not to let any obstacles in my life to stop me. And this time it's social media. You know, model and acting is something that I've been passionate for a long time, and that I kind of outgrew that, but not fully, in a sense that I kind of can do something similar to that through my social media endeavor. I don't know how to say that. And I am very much a creative person. I enjoy to be in front of the camera. I very much enjoy being a character in front of the camera. For me, just to talk like that, it's still very tough, but I feel like the more I do it, the better I get at it. But at the same time, I remember that when I started social media, I kind of like tried to push in that direction. I was 29, and then I was going strong for like almost a year, and then it was that moment when it's the hardest, when you have to push more, but you quit because you are just so discouraged because the results are just not what you expected. And it's that moment right now. I've been kind of going not so long. It's been almost like only like maybe 5 months. And I started noticing the same pattern. Like, instead of getting some progress, it's going backwards. I'm getting less and less views throughout my social media. It's TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. And it's so discouraging, but I promised myself that this time I'm not gonna stop. This 10 years, this 14 years that I've been trying to push for my dreams, there was always something stopping me. And this time I cannot let it happen, because I'm 32 and I want to already have some results to enjoy, but it's not the case. I still have to work for them and work hard for them. If it is being really hard for me to get some results, I think that universe is telling me that I need to test you before you're gonna actually experience the joy of achievements. And I do also want to think, and I teach myself to think in that way, that I need to start enjoying the process, really fully enjoying the process, not so much the destination. because yeah, destination is really nice to achieve at some point, but you always have to set new goals, and you always have to be on this journey, because the journey is actually the pure joy. This is life. This is what makes you alive. You set in the goal and you're going for it. And you always have to set a new goal once you achieve that one goal, and the next goal, the next goal. So I just want to tell myself, and at 32, there is no stopping. There is no more excuses, and it's up to me. And those of you who are in your 20s, mid to late 20s, and like really anybody, please start now and don't postpone your dreams, no matter what are the circumstance you are at right now. And especially if you are really struggling in a foreign country and there are some things that you just can't really, control. For me right now, I am still at this company that I don't want to say the company that I don't enjoy, the work that I don't enjoy. The company is fine, It's just the work that I don't enjoy. This is the time I'm pushing myself. I already said that like 2-3 times maybe, but I just want to probably say that as many times as I need for me to really, really set that in my head and be like, okay, this is the time I'm going to push. So this is my story. You guys know a little bit more about myself. And if you have any questions or any comments, or maybe if you're interested in learning something else about me, I don't know. I barely have 50 followers, which is fine. I actually am grateful for this 52 followers on my channel. You guys rock. Thank you for your support. Thank you for showing up and, being here for me with me. And the people who are watching and not subscribed, thank you for your time. If you are still here listening to me, this is actually so awesome. I'm so grateful. And if you did, please leave the comments below. Let me know that you're here and ask me questions. That would be fun to talk to you in the comments. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video.